the world of performance hot hatches, the Ford Focus RS is probably one of the most desirable options on the market. And when Ford finally decided to bring this critically acclaimed hot hatch to the States, you can bet that a lot of enthusiasts are salivating. Today I'm driving that very critically acclaimed vehicle. Let's take an in-depth look at the 2016 Ford Focus RS. So I'm going to be completely blunt and honest here. Ford is pretty damn hot these days. Just look at the company's performance lineup. You've got the Shelby GT350 and GT350R, the Ford SVT Raptor, the new one, the Ford GT Supercar, and of course, last but not least, the Ford Focus RS. Now this hatchback has been highly anticipated over the last couple of years. When Ford announced that they were bringing this hottest of hot hatches to the States, a lot of enthusiasts were completely salivating. I mean, this is a car that we've been begging Ford to bring ever since the company brought out the Ford Focus ST. Everybody knew there was an even hotter hatch above that. Now you can see with the design of the RS, it does sport the traditional Focus hatchback's looks, pumped up of course, to make this car even more aggressive. Now if you guys remember the Focus, the current generation, it's been out since 2012, and Ford gave it a pretty extensive overhaul in 2015 with a new front fascia, new taillights, and a slightly revised interior. Now for the RS, you get its own unique front end, its own unique grille. LED daytime running lights are standard, as are bi-xenon headlights. This particular one that I'm showing you is in the very signature nitrous blue color. It's a $700 option, worth every penny to me. It really sets off the RS apart from the lesser Focus models. Now you can see the car itself is around 172 inches long, about 104-inch long wheelbase, so it is on the smaller end of the segment, and the RS model is even lower and wider. It's definitely accentuated by these 18-inch wheels that are on my tester. You do get your choice of summer tires between either Michelin Pilot Super Sports like my tester, or you can also get Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s if you guys are planning to take this car out to the track. Now out back, you have a very nicely sized wing. It's not as massive as what you get on the Subaru STI, this car's main competitor, but overall the proportions of the RS are nice. It's a very boy racer, elegant, but also very modern looking a hot hatch. It's accentuated by, the dual exhausts, which are larger diameter in the back, which by the way, this thing sounds fantastic. I mean, honestly, driving this car around, I'm shocked by how many people stare at this thing, especially those Subaru STI owners and the Golf R owners. Honestly, that car is just too mature and too understated. If you want your hot hatch to scream, the Focus RS is definitely the one you want to pick. But enough about the exterior. Let's take a look at the inside and see some of the differences that Ford has done for the RS model. Now, because this is at the hierarchy of the Focus line, smart key access system with push button start does come standard. You can see here is the traditional Ford key. It does have an RS logo on it to remind you you bought the special Focus. To lock the door, all you have to do is put your finger on this little pad here. That locks the door for you. To unlock it, just touch the back, and that unlocks the door for you. Now, looking at the interior, it doesn't really look all that different from a Focus ST. If you guys remember, I showed you an ST a couple of years ago when the car first came out. You have basically the same Recaro bucket seats, which I definitely did not like in the ST. I'll let you know my thoughts on these in a second. You can see there's an RS badge here. There's some nice blue stitching. Now, this is the upgraded interior, the full leather with the suede Alcantara that you get on the RS2 package. It's like a $3,000 option if you guys want to go with that. There's a new steering wheel that came out in 2015. The RS has a flat bottom wheel with more of the red stitching, or I'm sorry, the blue stitching, and some very, very nice leather and good bolsterings. Now, stepping inside the vehicle, you definitely have to nestle your way into the seats. And again, these seats, I'm just not particularly happy with these seats. Sometimes I find them to be a little too constraining, and I'm not fat, you guys, so you guys definitely want to try these seats out. Make sure that they work for you. I personally think they're a little too constricting. I wish that Ford gave you some adjustability. The Mustang's Recaro seats definitely aren't this bad. Now, like I said, push button start is standard, so all you have to do is put the clutch in. This car only comes with a 6-speed manual. Thank you, Ford. And then push this button here to fire up the engine. Oh man, STI what is all I can say. That engine sounds freaking fantastic. I love that exhaust at Ford. This is straight from the factory, so bravo Ford. But shutting the door itself sounds all right. I mean, the Focus's chassis is definitely starting to get a little bit up there in the years, but Ford's done a good job with keeping this car relatively modern. You can see, looking at the rest of the interior, it's the standard Focus titanium interior. You have soft touch materials on the upper part of the dashboard. You have your separate auxiliary gauges here for your boost, your oil pressure, oil temperature, kind of stuff you need for a performance car. The door panel material here is soft touch. You only get this on the titanium models, if I remember. The lower trims will have hard touch plastic. Hard touch plastic is down here with a aluminum accented door handle, and then some nice soft leather here where your elbows are going to rest. The window, one touch automatic for the driver and also for the passenger, so that's very nice. The rear actually is one touch as well, so kudos to you, Ford, for giving us one touch for all four windows. Definitely did not expect that. The steering wheel, it's got its own, it's got a pretty good amount of buttons. Your cruise control here, Bluetooth control there, your audio controls, and then that's to control the center screen there, which, by the way, the gauge is slightly different from the regular Focus and the ST. Blue accents, you do have a 180 mile per hour speedo. The Redline is set it to around 6,500. And then, of course, you have that helper screen in the center that all the other Focus models have. Now, looking at the center stack here, let's talk about this really quick because Ford did make some improvements. Obviously, this is the same. You have the same Sony premium sound system with the buttons here. Your automatic climate control system here, dual zone, which is nice. You have heated seats. This system here, or this layout here, has been redesigned as part of the refresh. And then, of course, this right here. This is Ford's Sync 3 system, replacing the hated My Ford Touch system. Now, the Sync 3 system isn't perfect, but I will admit that it is very good, and it also includes Android Auto and Apple CarPlay at a later availability. For some reason, when I plugged in my phone, it didn't work on this particular one, but I think Ford will be installing it in all 2017 models. Keep in mind that mine is a 2016 model. You can see the 4 quadrants are gone. This is pretty similar to what Hyundai and Kia do with the home screen, where you have the Nav system here, your music, and then your phone would be right there. You can customize, I believe, the actual layout of the home screen, similar to Hyundai and Kia, so Ford kind of copied them there with their Sync 3, but you know, here going to the audio system here, the touch response, the buttons can be a little bit small still because the screen's a little bit small, but the touch response is much improved over My Ford Touch. It still has a lot of remnants of it too, though I'm reminded of it constantly. Looking at the Nav system here, you can see here the Nav system is much quicker to respond, and it's a decent map quality, on par with all of the rest of the competitors. Going to apps here, you have your Pandora, and then of course your Sirius Travel Link. This car does have the navigation option with the XM satellite radio and the Nav traffic feature. Now, I mean, overall, I'm pretty pleased with the Sync system. It's really my first time showing it to you guys. But overall, I think Ford has done a really good job with, you know, addressing the concerns of the consumers. They really didn't like My Ford Touch, and Ford gave us a nice updated system with this Sync 3. Coming down here, you can see there's different buttons here. This vehicle surprisingly has automatic start-stop to save gas. Why bother? This is for your stability control off button, and then of course the drive mode here. This car is very known for its drift mode. When you push this little button right here, you can cycle between normal, sport, track, and drift. Now, first of all, let me be clear. Drift mode does not turn you into Ken Block. It basically just makes the torque vectoring all-wheel drive send most of the power to the rear so you can drift. It's still up to you to actually be able to drive this car to know how to drift. No, I'm not going to use drift mode on public roads. There are way too many YouTube videos of people crashing their RS models because they think that this car will allow them to drift like a pro driver. What does require you to be more of a pro driver is the fact that this car only comes with a 6-speed manual. It's very similar to the 6-speed in the ST. Very good short throws, a nice precision through the gates. The clutch is on the lighter side, and it has really good feel. It engages right in the middle of the travel. We'll go into the test drive later on. Now, looking at the rest of the center stack here, you can see handbrake. Your cup holders are there. There could be a little bit more storage space in this car, especially here. It's a pretty small storage compartment there. Another USB port is in there. Looking at the glove compartment, it's standard Focus stuff. It's actually a pretty big size. It's damped but not lined with felt. My tester is missing the optional sunroof. It's like a $900 option if you guys so desire. But overall, the interior is very similar to the standard Focus, which can be a problem considering the price of the RS, but it's a little bit of a snug fit. Make sure you guys fit in the seats. Make sure that it works for you when you drive this thing. Now looking at the back seat, it's basically the standard Focus stuff here in the back seat. You can see the overall space is not bad. You have the same Recaro, or not Recaro, you have the same suede Alcantara for the materials with the leather. It's pretty nice. Now stepping back here, you can see the legroom is definitely on the tighter side compared to some of the other competitors that offer more space. There is no flat floor here like some of the other compacts in this class, but you do have dual mat pockets. The seats themselves, they are actually relatively high, so I find that they have good thigh support, good foot space underneath the front seat. And shutting the door, the material back here is hard touch plastic with some more leather padded area where your arms or your elbows are going to rest. There is no center armrest right here, but the seats do fold down as 60/40. Now I love hot hatches, and this is exactly why. When you look at the space back here, you're going to get way more than the sedan. You're looking at around 20 cubic feet of space. Of course, the Focus does have a smaller hatch versus some competitors like the new Honda Civic hatch or the Volkswagen Golf, but overall you're going to find plenty of practicality in here. Now when you look underneath this floor, there is no spare, you just have a fixed flat kit. I think Ford offers something as a dealer accessory if you guys want to get a spare, but overall the cargo capacity is about what you expect. Now underneath the hood, this is the whole reason why you bought a Focus RS. You're looking at the most powerful engine that Ford's ever put in a Focus. It's the company's 2.3-liter EcoBoost turbocharged direct injection 4-cylinder, the same engine that's in the Ford Mustang. Now in this car, Ford has turned up the wick. It now pushes out 350 horsepower, which is 45 more than what you get in the STI, and 350 pound-feet of torque. It all goes through a torque vectoring all-wheel drive system through a 6-speed manual transmission. Now this car weighs right around 3,300 pounds. It's rated at 19 in the city, 25 on the highway if you guys care. Please put premium gas in it. Ford basically requires it. Let's get out on the road and see how it all works, shall we? All right, so I've been waiting quite a while to show you guys the new Focus RS, so I'm pretty pleased to get my hands on one to show you guys a full review. I know a lot of you have been asking me non-stop to review this car. So my first impressions, you know, are pretty positive. The one thing I did notice is I have a hard time finding a comfortable driving position. My tester with the RS2 package has a power driver's seat, but it only adjusts 6 ways, and I kind of think the front thigh part of the seat is too high, at least for me. So again, try the seats out if you like, see if you like them. One thing I'm also immediately noticing is just how incredibly sharp and firm this car is. The ride is super, super stiff, even compared to the ST. I mean, this is a really harsh ride, and keep in mind, the Subaru STI, this car's main competitor, is already a harsh car. This, to me, feels even harder than the Subaru. You can see there, the engine actually just shut off. I don't understand why. I mean, this is a performance car. I don't really care to save gas. So I'm going to turn it off by pushing the button here, and that starts the engine back up. One thing I love about this car is that exhaust. Ford just did a really fantastic job with tuning this exhaust right. Whew, it makes all the right noises, basically. Oh yeah, woo! Holy crap, this thing's fast. Whoa! Oh my God, that sounds fantastic. Wow. This is a way more exciting car to drive than the last Subaru STI that I drove, guys. Woo, woo, woo. Oh, that crackle from that exhaust. I can't believe this is the factory exhaust. What were you thinking, Ford? This is fantastic. Oh God, this thing is bonkers. So, because this car has all-wheel drive, you can basically just do a pretty aggressive clutch dump, and this car will rocket itself to 60 in around 4.6 seconds, which is, whoo, that's fast. That is freaking fast, and that is the whole reason why you ponied up the extra dough for the RS instead of the ST, because the ST is front-wheel drive, and you have to deal with the torque steer. I mean, come on. This is the ultimate hot hatch from Ford, and whew, it's just a fantastic driving car. Oh God, this thing likes to get a little squirmy. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh man, I could get into so much trouble with this car. Ooh. And that's the one thing about the Ford performance vehicles is they, especially like the RS, just like the ST, this car kind of encourages you to be naughty. I mean, when you're just going down the road just normally, the steering is super quick ratio, and that's the reason why the turning radius on this car sucks. It's only a 1.8 lock-to-lock turn, so Ford did that because when you turn the wheel, it just does this. The car has basically no body roll. It just changes direction so quickly. I mean, this would be the ultimate, you know, hot hatch track car. I mean, the Golf R is definitely way too soft to be great out on the track, and the STI, it's just a little old, to be honest. Subaru really needs to drive the new RS, and they need to benchmark this car and try to surpass it with the, you know, with the next generation STI. But this is just a phenomenal, phenomenal vehicle. See, with these Michelin Pilot Super Sports, this car just grips. It's just grip for days. It's fantastic. So when you get into some corners with the RS, oh my God, the body stays so flat, the steering is so sharp and so direct. And the seats, as much as I hate them in terms of comfort, they really hug you in place, which is what you really want in a performance car like this. You want the seats to hold you, especially when you're going to be driving this car super aggressively. That's just what the ST is good at, is just putting a huge smile on your face. Whereas the Golf R can be a little bit too quiet, a little too numb. The Subaru has this kind of raw feel, but at the same time, it just feels like yesterday's car sometimes to me when I drive it, considering that the engine hasn't been changed since the original 04 model has come out. So, I mean, Ford has a true game changer on their hands with this RS. It's the most track-focused car, the most, you know, the most insane car from the factory, and it comes with a warranty. I mean, this is just a really impressive vehicle from Ford, and I can see why Ford has been charging a pretty hefty premium for this RS model. But anyways, let's talk about a few numbers here. The fuel economy, in case you guys are wondering, surprisingly, the ship computer says it's been averaging about 19.8. I don't think so. I'm at an event where the media keep driving these things, and it's probably been getting like 14 miles per gallon, but Ford says it'll do 19.25. It has a very small 12.5 gallon gas tank, so expect to be filling up this car quite often on premium fuel. The Focus RS is thirsty for it. Now, regarding the price of this RS, it's, of course, certainly much more expensive than a regular Focus. I think a base Focus, a regular Focus, starts at like $18,000, $17,000. The RS model is roughly twice the price. This car starts at $35,900. But before you freak out, that's expensive. Consider the fact that the Golf R and the Subaru STI basically cost the same. Ford is asking the same money pretty much for their version. Oh my God, this car is a riot. My tester, of course, has the RS2 package for $2,800. That gives you the upgraded seats with the full leather Alcantara. You get the heated steering wheel, heated seats, and the navigation system. And the color on my tester is also $600, $700. So all in, my tester is about 40 grand. Now keep in mind, it's missing a sunroof. It's missing the optional winter wheel package for like $1,800 if Ford gives you another set of wheels. You can option up a Focus RS to be over 45 grand if you wanted to, which is pretty freaking expensive. Also consider the fact that I've noticed a lot of Ford dealers in my local area in DC are charging like a $5,000 premium on these. So you're essentially looking at a $50,000 Focus, which to me I wouldn't pay, but I would pay the $40,000 that my tester is for something like this. It's definitely a hot hatch that gets a lot of attention. It's much more engaging to drive than the current Golf R, but at the same time, it's not the most refined car. I mean, you probably noticed when I'm going over the bumps around here, the car's ride is pretty stiff. probably too stiff for me. I don't think I could deal with this on a day-to-day basis. I would prefer something a little bit more comfortable. I wish that there's like a comfort button in here that kind of just quiets everything down, but you know, you have a price to pay. You want the most engaging hot hatch, you want the most track-focused hot hatch. You're gonna be dealing with a bumpy ride, basically. It's not a very comfortable ride to deal with in terms of a road trip car, and the seats are just really starting to hurt my back as I sit here and do this review. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2016 Ford Focus RS. If you guys are in the market for the hottest of hot hatches, and you don't mind dealing with a car that's going to punish you going over bumps on your daily commute, but you also have the bragging rights, the RS is certainly worth a look. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, make sure you follow me on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, keep subscribed to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.